Namaste, Jai Bharat. Latest news from Pakistan says that the Microsoft is shutting down their operation in Pakistan and shifting off. Their office is closed. And now Pakistanis are crying or complaining. You have to find out. They're lamenting that Microsoft left us. Then, of course, they'll start finding fault with the government, this thing, that thing, everything. Because of the government, really, Microsoft is going. But actually, that's not the case. If Microsoft can't stay in Pakistan, it's because of you people's work culture. You don't work. You have lost work culture because from the day you become separate from Bharat. You went into a kind of fancy world where somehow you are told that you get things free. Not now, after you die. And once they keep this promise, or they believe in the promise that you get everything after death, you will not work. You want everything free here also, or live in the anticipation of getting everything free in so-called heaven after when they die. So the whole thing destroys a man's innovativeness and ability and his hard work and his ability to work hard and become successful in life. The psychology gets destroyed. And you see, if you hear them talking, they keep taking names of God several times in one sentence. That means these people don't want to do any work. They want everything to come from the above. That God should do everything. And they're so confident that they'll keep getting it. Hardly do people realize that until you work for yourselves, you get nothing. At least the Bible just instructs the opposite. You do your part, God will do his part. Something like that. Half work is yours and leave other half to God. Then again, the spirit has to be understood differently. You do your part and leave other things to God. Same what Bhagavad Gita teaches us. Do your work. Forget about the results. If it has to come, it will come. If it doesn't come, don't bother. That's a different kind of attitude. But at least it makes sense, even in the Bible, that you have at least half the work you do. The rest God will take care. But in Pakistan-like situations and in such situations, you do nothing. Everything is free for you. And this idea of freedom after death destroys the man's psyche when he is alive. Actually, there is not going to be anything like life after death. It's a common sense. If there is a life after death, it should be something like life before birth. If you think of life after death, you should try to understand what is life before birth. That you are very sure that there is nothing, you don't know anything. So why do you expect that life after death shall be different from life before birth? Put this logic, and if it makes sense to you, become industrious. Do work. Whatever you want, you struggle for it. And that vitality and that ability of Pakistani people have been stolen by the new acquired atmosphere after becoming separate from Bharat. That's the fundamental difference between Pakistanis and people of Bharat, though they have gone from us. The fundamental difference really makes a great difference. So they become worthless, they don't study. They don't study. They don't feel like you find out how many children go to school. The people are sent to madrasas. And who teaches in madrasas and what kind of syllabi they follow? What do they teach in madrasas? It's open to people. What do they teach? With that, would it be possible for them to get some kind of knowledge or some kind of training in skilled, like vocational kind of training? Nothing. And how can these people have a work culture? So the entire society of Pakistan do not have a work culture. Just because of this attitude, that everything is getting automatic. They keep taking the name of God. I told it at least 3 times in one sentence. And the way some of them, at least in front of the camera, will insist falsely speak about if God wishes, or etc. 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 Their self-esteem is destroyed. Their self-role is destroyed. Their self-contribution is destroyed. They become very passive and waiting for something from above, naturally. Society is stopped, lost, is destroyed. And the result is this. No one will work. They'll continue to complain. They want everything, so they won't work. Then those negative characters will resort to other means, unfair means to get their things done. And this unfair means becomes a routine. With all those things, the people of Pakistan, the workforce of Pakistan, did not develop, and they became unacceptable to the world. And how could a company like Microsoft stay on in Pakistan for this long, and how does the other MNCs, multinational companies, stay in Pakistan as today? How do they survive? It's a question that puzzles me. They have to leave, and of course they left. Now, Pakistanis have no redemption under this situation. Under this frame, they have no redemption. If they want to redeem themselves, obviously they cannot teach technology in madrasas. They cannot teach normal curriculum in madrasas because there are efficient teachers to begin with. Those teachers are worse than these people. And they create their own norms and laws, and each one will interpret some text to their convenience and then go on. Becomes a big semblance of mistake, the madrasa education. So, first of all, so long as there is madrasa education, the whole society has no redemption, they are lost. They'll keep taking the names of God. It's contradictory to one of the commands among the 10 commandments. Thou shalt not take thy Lord's name in vain. That's one of the commandments. And the commandment should be applicable to them, not only to the Jews, Mosaic law, not only to the Christians, should be anyone who follows in Semitic tradition, should be applicable, because they don't negate Musa Nabi. Moses is a prophet, how can they deny? They call him as Musa Nabi, and Jesus they call as Isa Nabi. They can't deny this. The people of the book otherwise, and they violate the commandments. They continuously violating one of the commandments. Of course, they could say that we are not bound by commandments, but then commandments is your what you call root. However, you try to diverge from this. It's directly contradicting. Thou shalt not take thy Lord's name in vain. Directly contradicts the repetition of Lord's name at least 2 to 3 times in every sentence, where the individual has no role. Everything has to come from above. That's my concern. They won't work. They won't contribute. So no company can continue. But the workforce is not the soulless. What Marx said becomes relevant here. Soulless condition, sigh of oppressed creature, etc., etc. He was talking about the role of religion as an oppressing agent in Germany, and that is a small write-up he made, critic to Hegel's philosophy of right. In that he ultimately concludes that it is opium of people. So here Marx is relevant. It's a sigh of oppressed creature, soulless condition, etc., etc. Marx is very poetic. That thing is the situation in Pakistan. No one can make any factory there. The society can't improve, can't go forward. The only possibility that I see for Pakistan only, because they were basically Hindus, is to do Gharvapasi. Gharvapati means come back to Hindu Dharma. If you all turn back to Hindu Dharma, in another 50 years there is possibility that they will become industrious as the king. So not only Microsoft, everyone will run away. We shall meet again. Namaste. Jai Bharat, Jai Sri Ram.